So Life Lessons TV, look, it's going to be sort of, I think, a little bit edgy. I think it's going to be a little bit off the cuff. I'm letting you know now that once I get excited about a topic, I might swear a little bit. I might let a couple of curses go. So it's one of those things where I think I just want things to be kind of real. Today I want to come back to you with a Q&A. We haven't done Q&A for a few weeks. I put a shout out up on Facebook for anyone to ask questions, and it's interesting today because I've been thrown a couple of doozies which I didn't really expect, but I'll do my best to serve these guys and do the best I can with this information, okay, all these questions, okay. So here we go. Troy Smolinars, how you going there? And thanks for your question, mate. It's great to see you always online. We definitely need to catch up. But Troy has asked, what's the most challenging aspect of connecting or connection with people, getting them to engage with your message? How do you effectively attain and sustain this? So it's a huge question, and I guess I'm going to try and answer it as best I can, because I can only give you my personal take on this, right? In terms of what's the most challenging aspect of connection, I guess is really trying to get reach, trying to, everyone wants to say, well, I want to strike a chord, I want to hit that note with people, and they're going to resonate. And I really think, from my own perspective, when the times that I was trying to be in terms like too salesy, or going for the click, going for the amount of likes, you had the intention, and this is like, it's so clear when you see this online in terms of people putting a message out there on Instagram or on YouTube. Everyone wants a freaking viral video, right? And the thing is that it's not really about having a video go viral, and if that's your intention, it generally will fall flat on its face. Okay, so what I'm leading to here is it comes down to your intent. Now, and I've said this on some training that I've done with my social media guys, right? And the thing is that I learned this from a mate of mine who's an awesome internet marketer. His name's Jamie Stenhouse, and he put up a video blog about having intention without fear of outcome. So what that means is that you're going to be coming from a place where your intention is to serve. Your intention is to provide value. Your intention is to get to people know you, get them to know you, like you, and trust you. Now, as soon as you know in your heart of hearts that that's your intention, it's pure, and you don't really give a shit about what people think out there. You don't care about the likes, the follows, the fans. You don't care about comments or anything like that in terms of negativity. And it's not your intention to make this video go viral. It's not your intention just to put yourself up in the limelight. It's actually to serve. It's actually to provide value. It's actually to impart some sort of wisdom on someone's life. That's the way I see this show. I see it as nothing about me. It's about life. It's about giving some value to my listeners, to my audience out there, from a personal experience, some life lessons that I've gone through, and that is my intention every time. I would be lying if I said I didn't want this show to blow up and go massive, but that's not the premise that I come from when I'm delivering a message to you guys. So the first step really is intent or intention, in terms of why you're doing it and the reasons behind that. If you're coming from that place, your message will always resonate, will always strike a chord with a few people, and that's where you start. The second thing is, in terms of, like, part of your question is getting them to engage with your message. The real side note to this, and I had this conversation with my brother the other day. We're talking some business strategies and things like that, and the idea is that, again, you're not trying to impress millions. This is not global domination. It's not something that you need to have many tens of thousands of people come your way, follow you, buy your stuff, engage in your message. You just need to make your influence over one person, two people, a minority. It doesn't take much, I think, to really succeed. You don't need the following of many tens of thousands or millions of people, particularly because I know you, Troy, and I know the type of influence that you're probably talking about. It's only a small community. So your job is not to engage the masses, and you can't get everyone to follow. Most leaders in the world, if not all of them, all the great ones and all the not so great ones, not everyone followed their way. They weren't the Pied Piper. They didn't get everyone to come their way, but they got a select few. And whether it's for good or for evil, those few were making an impression, an indent, or some sort of movement because that's who they wanted to follow, right? Like I said, for good or for bad. But it wasn't the whole world went that way. It was just a minority of people that went that way. And that's all you really need. You kind of only need 1 or 2 or 5 or 10. And those are the people you want to work with and influence. So from a business sense, and going on from this conversation I had with my brother, we were like, listen, when it's not our job from a financial goal, from a goal of trying to build wealth and gain customers and things like that. We don't want everyone, because the reality of it is we don't really want to work with everyone. Most people are not our ideal client. We want a particular client that we want to work with. We want someone who might be, for example, of a different price point. We want someone who might be just a decent person to work with, someone who's not a fuckwit, someone who's not going to break your balls all the time, someone who's not going to come down on you on the first mistake, someone who's actually going to be lenient and give you a bit of leeway, someone who's actually happy, who's got a mission, who's on a purpose, someone who resonates with us. That's our ideal client. So the thing is, we don't want the masses. We actually want the 2 or 3 or 4% of people that want to work with us. So I think if you put yourself in a position where you're now saying, this is my intention, this is the way I'm going to serve people, then those few that engage with you, the way you maintain that is you keep serving them. Don't grab them, put them to one side, then try and get more people. You work with them and add value to their lives. Because you know what? Like attracts like. So as soon as you've got one person, which is you carrying the message, and then you get 2 people around you, they will know someone who knows someone, and that's how that message spreads and perpetuates into a big following over time. And lastly, that's a great segue, it's just time. Nothing is built overnight. There is no such thing as an overnight success. The people that you see and revere, admire, that just blow up on the internet and seem like it's an overnight success, it's fucking bullshit. It doesn't happen overnight. They've been working for weeks, months, years of their life to get to that point. The classic example is when you see people on American Idol, Australian Idol, or some X Factor show, and they're like, this guy's blowing up or this girl's blowing up, and they've just made it. The thing is, they've been working pubs and clubs for, since they were 15 years of age. They've been on the street busking for fucking nothing all day, working for weeks and weeks, honing in on their craft, making sure that their skill was always being worked at, and you don't see any of that. You see the glitz and the glamour. You don't see all the hard work, all the sleepless nights, all the nights and days where they wanted to give up, and all the people that said, hey, listen, maybe you should just go and get a trade, and just maybe do music as a fallback. They didn't listen. They put their balls on the line, and they basically said, you know what? I'm going to burn the boats, and I'm going to never look back on this. That's why they are eventually a success. Now, that's not to say that you will be a success or there'll be many successes. There's always, for every success, there's 1,000 failures. The difference is that they took the time and they kept pursuing their dreams over and over again. It's much the same with you, mate. If you've got a message, if you want to get people to know you, like you, trust you, you've basically just got to start with one person. That message then spreads out to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, and eventually you get a following. All the people that don't come your way, that's a good thing for you. There's a reason why they're not following you, and they're not in alignment with your message. All right, I know I went on for a bit there, but that's a deep question, dude. And I think that yeah, it encompasses so many things. So I hope that has served you there. Okay, next question. This one, it gets deeper, okay? So this one here comes from Yora Kalimanis. I hope I've done your name justice there, I'm sorry. Yora, I don't know who you are personally, but I noticed you've been following for quite some time on Facebook. Thanks for your likes and comments, and thanks for your question. This is a pretty key question, actually. So Yora asks, how do you plan a future when you're told to live in the now? So just to put this into context, if you don't mind me sharing, Yora, you had mentioned that you've been diagnosed with a particular ailment, and it has its own limitations, okay? So from what I get from you, you have found yourself in a situation that's life-changing. And you've had to reshuffle the cards because things are different now. You don't have the ability to pursue one particular goal, or there's a sort of limitation, I guess. So let's put a lid on that. Now, the way I interpret it is that you're like, well, listen, if this is the way life's going to be, I'm going to enjoy every moment for what it is. I'm going to live life to the fullest. Yeah, it's that saying that, you know, what would you do if you only had one day to live? Now, I personally don't like that question, because in reality, like for me personally, if I knew that tomorrow it was going to be no more for me, I just want to stay home and spend time with my wife and kids. That's the reality. And really, if I wanted to just do everything on my bucket list, I've only got one fucking day. So I wouldn't have enough time to even do all the things on that list. And whilst I'm doing that thing on my list, I'm feeling guilty because I'm not spending time with my kids and my wife. So I think that comment, that question is kind of redundant. And I think from your perspective, I know that, or I can at least sense that you've done some sort of reading, some sort of literature on being in the moment and living for today. And then you have this situation where you desire to do something for your future. So how do you plan for a future when you're supposed to be living in the now, being in the moment all the time? So here's my take on this. I'm no spiritual leader, of course, and I do relate to you in a lot of ways, because in my own life, I had this tug of war between Adrian the dad, Adrian the husband, and Adrian the entrepreneur. I say that because, you know, I don't feel like I really personally made it into that entrepreneurial space that I desire in my own heart of hearts, okay? So, but there's a fine line, right? I have to be mindful that I still want goals, dreams, and aspirations that I want to achieve for the future, but I also have to be mindful that when I'm with my children, when I'm with my wife, I'm actually with them, and I'm in the moment with them. Or even when I'm at the gym, or even when I'm meditating, or I'm at the beach, or I'm with family, or I'm with friends, or, you know, doing this, I'm being here in the moment. I think the main thing that I can really say to you, Yora, is that there's nothing wrong with having goals and dreams and aspirations for the future, and planning and actioning, having some inspired action towards that goal. And really along the way, it's more just acknowledging yourself and have this awareness that it is more about the journey and not the destination. So that's the way I see it. I see it as that for me, I don't think in my life there'll come a time where I say, I've made it now, that's it, right? It just won't happen. I feel, and as I know myself, my own self-awareness is that I will be in a position where once I've accomplished something, then I'm already 2 steps ahead on the next thing. You know, I've got shit that I'm working on now that, you know, maybe 12 months or 2 years, I don't even know when the fuck it's going to come about, but I know in my mind that it's going to happen, and it's going to happen one day in the future. The thing is, it doesn't stop me being right here and right now with you. It doesn't stop me being right here and right now with my wife, with my kids. And, you know, those are the precious moments that when it comes time for, you know, for me to leave this earth, they're the things that I think I'm gonna remember the most and cherish the most. So I'm not sure what you want to do. I don't know really what your dreams and aspirations are, but I would say to you that there's nothing wrong with wanting more, and at the same time enjoying the process, and really just enjoying the journey, not so much striving for that eventual destination. Most people, most entrepreneurs are waiting for the marching band to roll in and go, da-da, it's here, and this is the magic thing, and you made it. And it just doesn't happen. And you look at any successful businessman or woman, they are really always striving and never really arriving. Okay, so that's my take on that, and that's what I would suggest that you consider, I guess, pondering over. If you're practicing being in the now, then I would meditate on that. I would sit on that for a while and maybe start planning for the future. And if that future for you is 2 months from now, if it's 6 months from now, if it's only 12 months, if it's just a short-term thing, that's fantastic. So set a goal, start moving towards that, and at the same time, still find those moments of appreciation for what you have, and the gratitude that you have the ability to appreciate those moments. So let's be real about this, right? You've got a moment in time now where you can still strive for something and still at the same time just value the fact that you've got a mind, you've got a body, you've got thoughts, you've got these things going through your brain. I find that a real inspiring starting point, because it's obvious to me that you're planning for something or desiring something for the future. You haven't said to me, I've totally given up on life, so what do I do? So that's my take on that, and I wish you all the success for your future. Okay, I want to end on not so much a question, but this was put to me by an old friend, Shona Sims. So thank you for this, Shona. She mentioned Brene Brown's talk on vulnerability, and it's a TEDx talk, which I think if you haven't watched it, you should. It's an amazing interview. It's had umpteen million views, and it really is about being, basically, it's about vulnerability and about being not about the show, and realizing that you're human, and realizing that you have good days and you also have shit days, right? So going back, last episode when I interviewed Bianca Dye, one of the things that she said was that, hey, everyone has good days and everyone has bad days. And for her, she's got maybe 5 days a week that are, really good or moderately good or okay. And then she's got 2 days a week that are kind of bad. So it's more about, I guess, accepting that that's just life. Life is always, to me, ebbs and flows. And it's always up and down. And that's just the cycle of life. The vulnerability TEDx talk is about realizing that you don't have to become all things to all people. And particularly in this space, where we're here with lights, camera, and all this kind of stuff, I find that myself, I have to be in a position where I'm not all that. Okay, this is not something where I'm sitting here saying, hey, I've made it and I'm teaching you the way. This life lessons is a journey. It's something that I'm going through, experienced through, and through me, I want to pass on a message to you guys and really have you feel normal. That's truly my desire, is for you to, behind the camera, saying, you know what? Thanks for making me feel fucking sane, because I thought I was the only one going through this. The reality of it is you're not, and the reality of it is if you think that you're invincible and all the rest of it, you're not. You're deluding yourself, and it's okay to have down days. It's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to tell people that, you know what, I have a shortcoming here, or this is what I've experienced. On the last show, I talked about my own experience with anxiety and depression and things like that from bad business decisions and things like that. I can tell you stories about losing loved ones, to cancer, to suicide, to drug overdose, and again, They're terrible moments, they're moments in life that you'd rather forget and not experience. And at the same time, they're moments that shape you and make you. And that truly is what life is all about. It's about not just the experiences that you have, but the lessons that you learn from them. There you go, guys, episode number 9. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so grateful. I'm looking forward to bringing you some more awesome interviews and more Life Lessons TV. See you on the next episode. So Life Lessons TV, look, it's going to be sort of, I think, a little bit edgy. I think it's going to be a little bit off the cuff. I'm letting you know now that once I get excited about a topic, I might swear a little bit. I might let a couple of curses go. So it's one of those things where I think I just want things to be kind of real.